Hi guys, in this video, we will discuss how to recognize a bit codes of a computer. First, we will discuss about definition and importance of bit codes. Second, we will discuss the main types of bit codes. And the third, we will discuss to recognize bit codes corresponding to the problem. And we will state some explanation and diagnosis for recommendation. So, what does it mean by bit code? A bit code is an audio signal given out by a computer to announce the result of a short diagnostic testing. When a problem is identified with the system during the pause, the computer pause or power on self-test checks a computer internal hardware for compatibility and connection before starting the remainder of the boot process. Then, BIOS will normally produce an error message. However, in some cases, the problem is detected so early in the test that the BIOS cannot even access the video card to print the message. In this case, the BIOS will produce a beeping pattern on the speaker to tell you what the problem is. So, it helps to show end users that there is a hardware problem preventing to the normal operation. The BIOS is the basic and essential portion of the motherboard firmware and is in charge of checking and booting the hardware attached to the device, thereby passing the computer control to the operating system. There are three main types of BIOS. First, AMI BIOS. Second, AWARD BIOS. And third, the Phoenix BIOS. AMI BIOS. AMI BIOS is a basic input-output system chip developed and branded by American Megatrends Incorporated or AMI. It is used on a variety of motherboards, including the AMI proprietary version. The AMI BIOS chip is the most commonly installed BIOS chip in the modern PC computing. So when you hear this sound, did you hear the sound, guys? That is a one short beep. The problem is memory refresh timer error or incorrect interaction of RAM between the motherboard. So the solution is often checking the installation of RAM, such as reinserting the memory into the same slot or replacing the RAM. That is a one long beep and two short beeps. The problem is the video memory error. You must check if your PC meets the system requirements or update your graphics driver, modify your graphics card settings, otherwise replace it. That is a two short beeps. The problem is parity error based memory. This is a problem with the first 64 KB memory block in your RAM. Memory parity errors can be caused by failing hardware or outside elements disrupting how computer memory functions. Usually, the solution is to replace a new memory. Did you hear the sound, guys? That is a three short beeps. What is the problem? The problem is the base 64K memory read-write test error. So you may try to clean the CMOS by disconnecting the BSU power cord from the wall outlet, holding down the case power button for 15 seconds. Then, remove the CMOS battery for 3 minutes, or jumper clear the CMOS pins. Reinstall the battery or remove the jumper, and then test with just one stick of RAM, or replace the RAM usually will solve this. 4 short tips. Motherboard or system timer error. Motherboard timer is not working properly, but it could also mean that there's a problem with the RAM module that's in the lowest. Usually, a hardware failure with an expansion card or problem with the motherboard itself could trigger this bit code. So, start fixing this problem by removing the RAM and then replace it again. If doesn't work, next, remove also the expansion card and then replace it again. Otherwise, replace the motherboard as a last option. That is a 5 short beeps. Processor error. A damaged expansion card the CPU or the mother could be at fault. Try to reset the CPU. If it doesn't work, try resetting the expansion cards. Chances are, however, the CPU needs to replace. That is a 6 short beeps. The problem with this is the 8042 gate A20 test error or cannot enter the BIOS in safe mode. Usually, an expansion card has failed on the motherboard itself, so you must replace expansion card or motherboard. Seven short beeps. General exception error or such as a processor or graphic cards, usually caused by a faulty expansion card or a motherboard hardware issue or a damaged CPU. This fix is to replace a faulty component. 8 short beeps. Error with the display memory. Mostly a failed video card causes this error, so it's need to replace the video card to fix this. 9 short beeps. AMI BIOS room checksum error or CMOS battery error. This error points to a problem with the BIOS chip on the motherboard itself. Replacing a BIOS chip in some times is impossible. Try to clean first the CMOS battery. If the problem is still, corrected it by replacing the motherboard. 10 short beeps. The problem with this is the CMOS shutdown register read-write error. This is usually caused by a hardware issue with the AMI BIOS chip. Resetting the expansion card or replacing motherboard is usually the way to fix this. So finally, it's 11 short beeps. Cache memory test has failed. Your problem is in the cache memory chips on the motherboard. Reset or replace these chips if possible, or replacing the video card. But try removing and reinstalling it first, just in case the only problem is that. So that's all for the AMI BIOS beep codes. Next is the award BIOS or phonics BIOS. TEOJIN will discuss this.
What is award BIOS? Award BIOS is a kind of BIOS manufactured by award na ngayon ay pagmamay-ari na ng Phonics Technologies. Karamihan sa mga popular na motherboard manufacturers ay ginagamit ang award BIOS sa kanilang system, habang ang ibang motherboard manufacturers ay gumawa ng custom BIOS software based sa award BIOS system. One short beep, a single. Short beep from an award BIOS is an indication that your computer has successfully passed the post test. One long beep, RAM error. Replace the RAM module's most common solution. Set default or conservative RAM timings. Increase the RAM voltage levels. Decrease the CPU voltage levels. Apply BIOS update to fix incompatibility issues. One long beep and one short beep, motherboard error. Fault on motherboard. This should replace a motherboard because nothing at all happens when you turn on the power. One long beep and two short beep, graphics card error. Two short beeps, this indicates that there has been an error with the video card. Replacing the video card will fix this type of error. Short beeps, one long beep followed by 3 short beeps means that either the video card is installed or the memory on the video card is bad. Resetting or replacing the video card will typically fix this. Phonics BIOS. Phonics BIOS was the first company to successfully mass-produce the ROM BIOS for the PC, which made the PC industry possible. The BIOS enabled software designed for the IBM PC to run in non-IBM PC, C. BIOS and Phonics Award BIOS. 1 beep, a single, short beep from a phonics BIOS is an indication that your computer has successfully passed the post test. This is a good sign that all is well. No need to worry about it. Short beeps checksum error indicates that there is a problem with the motherboard. Replacing the motherboard should fix this problem. 1223 bit code pattern, BIOS room checksum error. Mayroong problema sa BIOS chip sa motherboard, karaniwan na naitatama sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalit ng motherboard. 1313 bit code pattern, 8742 keyboard controller test has failed. Dito naman, maaring nangangahulugan ito ng isang problema sa keyboard o isang issue sa motherboard. 1341 bit code pattern. There is some kind of fault with the RAM. Meron ilang mga kind of fault with the RAM. Ang karaniwang nag-aayos ng problemang to ay ang pagpapalit ng RAM. 1343 bit code pattern, another memory issue. Sa problemang to naman, nire-recommend ang pagpapalit ng RAM. 14111 bit code pattern, system memory fault. Sa problemang ito naman, ang karaniwang solusyon dito ay pagpapalit ng RAM. 123 bit code pattern, BIOS room error. Nagpapahiwatig ito ng isang issue sa BIOS chip sa motherboard. Nasusolusyon ito sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalit ng motherboard. 2231 bit code pattern, problem testing hardware related to IRQ. Itong beep sound naman na to, pwede itong isang problema sa hardware o sa pagsasaayos sa isang expansion card o kaya ilang uri ng pagkasira ng motherboard.
So, thank you for watching with this video, guys. I hope you learned something new about beep codes. But before, please click the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.